Finally, the time that all BBW LA fans feared has arrived. Uncooked. Uncut video of Jackie and Chanel's violent altercation has surfaced, and the consequences are already profound. According to rumors, the amount of pandemonium and unfiltered passion on show embarrassed the producers. It was seriously considered to cancel the entire show rather than run the risk of offending sponsors, or worse, viewers. Without a doubt, this isn't your typical reality TV argument, as the clip shows voices breaking with anger as decades of suppressed hatred explode in a whirlwind of accusations and schvees. Cameras shook, emotions were running high, and even the Basur crew didn't seem to be able to stop it. Fans are taken aback. Social media is rife with rumors after the family was split up. What pushed the mother and daughter to the brink? Was it betrayal, jealousy, or something else entirely? Is there something deeper hiding underneath their flawless exterior? Nothing will ever be the same for Jackie and Chantel or for the viewers, caught in the midst of this maelstrom, despite rumors that legal threats may follow. As the video starts to roll, you're going to see every flaming second dot, so buckle up. One can almost feel the strain. As she confronts, Chantel's voice quivers with a mix of anger and terror. Jackie discussing long-buried grudges. Chantel hisses, "You never listened," her eyes glimmering with unadulterated passion. In a low, terrified murmur, Jackie responds, "You always put your needs above mine." The atmosphere crackles like electricity as I say, "I raised you better than this." Their unrestrained outburst was caught in the wake of the crew's light rig movement, and everyone hesitates for a moment, silent observers of a wound that has obviously been there for far longer than anyone thought. When fans see this aspect of their favorite reality pair, they are surprised. The room. Unrestrained genuineness shatters the facade of manufactured splendor. Normally a well-maintained set for intricate plots and thoughtfully chosen confessionals, it now feels like a battleground. As she moves forward, Chantel's shoulders are squared in defiance, her posture hard, and she demands answers for the many nights she spent wondering why her mother never seemed proud. "You informed me that he was insufficient," Chantel spits out, her voice breaking beneath the strain of pain. Jackie's lashes were out and her face reddened. "Do you believe you understand suffering? Put yourself in my position." The scenario takes a turn for the worse when the rejoinder hits like a slap. The network cameras were set up to record trivial disputes, and emotions were running high. Catch something much more primordial now. A mother clinging to power, a daughter looking for approval, and a disastrous family dynamic. Dot awry. The charges that follow make it difficult to distinguish between the past and the present. Chantel digs up recollections of Jackie's debutant party, where she sat by herself as her mother posed for pictures, and instances when she put appearance above affection. Jackie responds with her own admissions. Sacrifices made in order to establish a reputation in a society that did not overlook errors. "I had 3 jobs," Jackie exclaims, "in order for you to live a life I never did." And as the mother's suffering becomes apparent, silence descends across the crew. The cameras jolt and pivot, recording every tremor in Jackie's voice. Chantel's eyes threaten to well up with tears. Other people's reactions permeate the scenario. In the background, the shadow of a producer darts, gapes in the mouth. The hand of a cosmetic artist gripping a powder brush quivers. Between professionalism and compassion, Chantel abruptly changes course and leaps forward, not violently, but with a frantic plea, her arms outstretched as if she could save her mother from an emotional precipice. "Please, Mom," she begs, her voice becoming softer. Jackie, stiff as a stone statue, flinches, her face stiffening into an unusual grimace. "I just wanted your love." There is a tight silence that is only interrupted by the sound of the camera's motor. The crew looks at each other uneasily. As they debate whether to step in or continue to observe objectively, whispers travel down the line. Word gets around behind the scenes that sponsors are already circling, worried about being linked to such volatility. Off-camera relatives even paced in whispered conversations, leaving the family split, torn between belief and loyalty. A third voice appears in the following moments. Derek, Chantel's brother, enters the picture with his palms up in a calming motion. He replies softly, "This isn't you, Mom." as he looks at Jackie with a mix of grief and annoyance. Another level of complexity is introduced by his presence. Having to choose a side as old scars reopen, Chantel gives Derek a thank you look before turning back to Jackie. There was an unbearable tension in the space between them now. By whispering, "You know what you did?" Chantel says. A vase on a nearby table then begins to quiver. White lily petals were dispersed like fading memories. The producers think about calling off the shoot. Their expressions turn pale as they acknowledge that, depending on how it is edited, the video may elicit anger or sympathy. However, the true drama begins when Jackie accuses Chantel of violating the family's public image, her voice trembling. With outrage, she growls, "You went to the press. For sympathy points, you sold our skeletons." Chantel's eyes enlarge with disbelief and dread. She acknowledges that I spoke with one reporter since no one paid attention to me when it was important. The admission is a bombshell that raises serious concerns about narrative control and authenticity. The idea that the flawless plot they have become accustomed to may have been contrived, and that their emotions may have been swayed, shocks fans. Social media sets speculative threads on fire. Was Chantal driven to her breaking point by a mother's constant criticism, or did she spill private confessions? A camera accidentally records a surprised crew member chatting into a headset amid the confusion. Do we continue to roll? Contagious, the uncertainty permeates every area of the set. Standing just off of camera, Chantel's pal Renee grips her phone, prepared to live stream if the producers dare to pull this section. I've never seen anything so real. Her eyes are full with tears. As she breaths, her response highlights an important turn. Others understand the power of unvarnished honesty to cut through the typical reality show sheen, while others are afraid of the consequences. Producers are caught between the possibility of criticism and exciting content. As the uncut video reveals the truth, pause. As the conflict heats up, no editor is able to completely subdue Dot. Chantal's voice trembles as she considers crying. "You had to come visit me," she admits as she moves in closer till they are only a few inches apart. For a brief heartbeat, Jackie's expression softens, displaying a mother divided between pride and terror. The dam then bursts. Jackie's hand jerks forward in an attempt to shove Chantel away, but not with aggression. It's a brief yet thrilling interaction, an ultimate tangible representation of a relationship that is eroding. As the shove was caught on tape, tensions ran high and the family was split. The world held its breath as they gasped. At that point, it makes sense to think about canceling the entire episode. This isn't a fictitious conflict. Millions of people are witnessing the emergence of decades of suffering. The consequences are instantaneous. Producers gather off-screen to discuss the moral dilemma of transforming such personal suffering into amusement. Sponsors reportedly threaten to withhold support, concerned of connecting their companies to a narrative that can be regarded as predatory. Fans analyze each frame in the interim. While some applaud Chantel's courage, others charge her with using family drama as a weapon. As the dust settles from that explosive shove, the film that was once a single uninterrupted stream splits into 1,000 conversations across social platforms, and the dispute grows more intense by the second. An unsettling silence descends upon the scene. Jackie's knuckles turn white over the edge of the table, while Chantel stands a few paces back with her hand placed to her chest as though to calm her racing heart. A studio assistant, whose voice is hardly audible above a whisper, tiptoes forward. "Are you okay?" Her shoulders are still shaking from the adrenaline, but she manages to nod despite her lips trembling. The gentle intake of air reverberates like thunder in the quiet room, captured by the microphones hanging over them. A panicked whisper from a producer drifts through the incoming feed off Chamira. Now we must cut. However, the cameras continue to record despite the mounting sense of catastrophe. They continue to roll, catching each moment of remorse and rage in the eyes of the two women. A few seconds later, a staff member indicates a commercial break by flipping a card. Chantel and Jackie, however, are still locked. Chantel looks at the red on-air light in a scene of unfiltered emotion as though it were a beacon, a reminder that everyone is seeing them suffer. Why would you act in such a way on live TV? Her voice cracks as she hisses. Jackie tightens her jaw. Her eyes were filled with tears. With every syllable a blade of grief and anger, she responds, "Because I couldn't watch you tear me down one more time." The strain is evident, and even the staff members who were taught to perform invisible shifts felt uneasy due to the family's tumultuous past. History broken. Shortly after, Chantel withdraws to a couch close by and covers her face with her hands. Her faithful friend Renee lingers by her side, placing a touch on Chantel's shoulder. "You're strong," Renee whispers, her voice full of pity. "They are unable to take that away from you." Chantel retreats, her eyes blazing but ringed with scarlet. "I'm sick of acting," she murmurs. "I've had enough of the falsehoods." The story then takes a surprising turn after those words. As the network struggles to determine whether to continue recording, Chantel grabs her phone and puts out a message. The production crew is shaken by the threat that the blinking cursor on her screen is expressing. "I will release the entire audio to the media if they cut this." Seeing Chantel's resolute expression, Jackie leaps forward once more, this time out, of desperation rather than rage. "You dare not," she pleads. "We'll be ruined by you." Chantel, however, looks her in the eye without flinching. "It's already ruined," she responds in a firm yet quiet voice. The room is electrified by the revelation. Leaked evidence is about to be used as a weapon in a mother-daughter dispute. As producers exchanged frantic signals out of fear of legal action and sponsor walkouts, tensions were high. In addition to being split in front of the camera, the family was split behind the scenes as executives squabbled in private discussions on damage management and liability. Derek's presence is abruptly announced by the sound of clattering heels, and his worried expression is visible. He approaches Chantel with his phone up, as if he were prepared to protect her. Silently, "You're not doing this alone," he says. Chantel gives a half smile of gratitude and straightens her shoulders. She says, "Thank you," in a firm voice. A legal advisor nearby clears her throat, warning producers that releasing unapproved recordings could result in legal action. But I need them to hear the truth. The drama that is developing amid the strategic maneuvering is made more intriguing and dangerous by the specter of a legal confrontation. The scene returns to frosty Jackie. Her smudged lipstick is evidence of tears she wept when no one was looking. Hovering with a tissue and a sympathetic look is a hairstylist. The stylist says, "You don't have to do this." Jackie draws in a trembling breath and presses her lips together. With her eyes darting to the monitors, which show social media feeds blazing with the hashtag #JackKevChell, she continues, "Everything I've built, battling for that." She stands up with wavering resolve, shifting her stance as if preparing for a fight on a different front, public opinion. The cameras pan back to show Chantel and Jackie sitting across from one another, divided by a low table covered in strewn-about lilas, who are silent witnesses to their altercation. Chantel puts her phone face up, an audio file open on the luminous screen. "This is your chance to explain," she asserts quietly. "To explain to everyone why you treated me as though I didn't exist." Before Jackie picks up the phone and starts going through the timestamps of voicemail recordings and text messages she never intended for the recipient, there's a significant pause, world to listen to. As the story changes, the team mutters in wonder. What started out as a physical altercation turns into a private confession in which both parties share their injuries for everyone to analyze. A crew member inadvertently broadcasts brief excerpts of their private conversation over the live stream halfway through the conversation. Online viewers gasp at the uncut footage, and social media platforms explode in a matter of seconds. Jackie's trembling confessions are intercut with clips of Chantel's heartfelt plea, creating a scene that is deeper than any stage play. Beyond the well-known cliches of reality TV feuds, fans are astounded to witness the genuineness of a broken family exposed. Even if the official episode never airs, the tale will continue to spread because thousands of people have already downloaded, shared, and remixed it while the network frantically tries to stop the stream. Renee, Chantel's buddy, shows up on camera and answers frantic questions during an unplanned interview. "I've known Chantel my entire life," she says in a calm yet passionate tone. She had always yearned for her mother's blessing. She eventually requested it today. Her remarks strike a chord with the audience and raise the emotional stakes by introducing an outsider's point of view. Jackie temporarily withdraws to a production trailer, where family members wait for her to return. Her sister breaks down in tears as she bemoans the family's public disintegration. She says, "You kept so much inside," to Jackie. Jackie says regretfully, "I never knew it ran this deep." Her eyes well up with tears as she realizes the repercussions of quiet. In a moment of unheard-of vulnerability, Chantel returns to the set and faces the camera directly. "Trust that your voice matters if you've ever felt unheard," she continues, her voice firm despite the tears still in her eyes. Producers exchange anxious glances. Amid the hype, they hadn't budgeted for genuine empowerment, but the audience connects with the unadulterated genuineness. Chantel leans forward, phones still between them, despite sponsors threatening to disassociate themselves from the controversy. She tells her mom, "I'll give you one last chance. Prove your pride to me." The challenge remains unresolved, an emotional peak that feels too strong to be resolved. One episode right before it looks like the conflict will continue to be suspended. There's a fresh twist. A view of Chantel's diary on an adjacent table is captured by a backup camera. Bookmarked pages with handwritten confessions and hidden photographs. Seeing another dramatic disclosure, a producer secretly tells the camera to zoom in. The shot is stopped when Chantel slaps her palm against the table. "No," she says in a harsh voice. There is more to this than meets the eye. The crew is reminded by the defiance that this captured in real time as the episode approaches its unofficial conclusion. The story is more than just entertainment. It's a fight for identity, respect, and reconciliation. Unresolved tension permeates the air as Chantel and Jackie continue to face each other. "I forgive you," Chantel says, her eyes glistening, and Jackie's stern face relaxes for a breath. She nods, her mouth opening to speak, and tears spill forth. However, the moment is shattered when the director exclaims, "We're out of time." The lights go out, the cameras stop, and the set falls silent in shock. The decision hovers off-screen, as crew members exchange "what just happened" stares. Will this video ever be seen, or will it always be kept in secret in vaults? A testament to the breaking point of a family. Everyone is left wondering how much more truth is hidden beneath the surface, since the story appears to finish here. The film stops rolling, but the emotional tremors reverberate throughout the entire studio, filling the air backstage with a tense tension. Producers stand in a circle, their voices fervent and low. One whispers, looking at the raw file while the displays continue to blink. "We can't sit on this." Another responds, "We run the risk of lawsuits and brand fallout if we air it unedited." In addition to being split up on camera, the family was split up in every office and trailer. Everyone is questioning whether reputation or the truth should win out. Every leaked screenshot that circulates online sparks debates on social media, and fans are horrified that such a private breakdown occurred under the pretense of entertainment. Chantel withdraws to a peaceful area on the set in the meantime. A dim monitor showed her quivering reflection. Derrick remains by her side, supporting her in silence. Kay asks softly, "You okay?" Chantel lets out a breath, her voice rough. Her words, "I feel exposed," are honest. The acknowledgement is more profound than any charge, yet it is also relieving. This woman has at last freed herself from years of unsaid suffering. She browses through a barrage of notifications while tears stream down her face. While some applaud her bravery, others denounce her for betraying her mother. It hurts to be dualistic. Chantel lets go of her phone and exhales. Fix the hardness. Whatever happens next, I'll take care of it. Jackie sits by herself in a makeup chair at the other end, staring at her reflection. The aftermath of loss and anger has replaced her once polished exterior. A hairdresser offers a tissue after he pauses. Jackie wipes her eyes and speaks quietly. "I didn't intend for things to go this bad." As though to prevent her head from breaking beneath the strain of shame, she presses her palms to her temples. "We practiced a fight," she murmurs. But not at this degree of bloodshed. Her admission highlights a terrifying reality. Drama may be staged on reality TV sets, However, they occasionally veer into reality, which is more horrifying than fantasy. The director is back on the soundstage, pacing while negotiating with the legal advisor, his phone glued to his ear. His voice clipped. "We get a lot of requests for screeners." The family's attorney is threatening an injunction, but they want to market it as lost footage. The conflict between spectacular content and moral obligation intensifies. Pitch. Producers discuss turning the segment into a special report with background and disclaimers. However, there are still concerns that any attempt at framing would come out as manipulative once the public sees the raw emotional strength of Chantel and Jackie's statements. Manipulative. A junior producer suddenly storms into the meeting room. Unbelievably, Jackie exposé is already trending. It's widely shared on Twitter and TikTok. Phones light up with real-time updates, and the crowd falls silent. Unauthorized clips have been viewed by tens of thousands of people in minutes. Reaction. Videos and memes proliferate. Viewers' emotions were running high. Many are comparing Sean's need for approval to the common experiences of mother-daughter disputes. Some admirers commend Chantel for her courage. She is criticized by others for using family trauma as a means of gaining attention. The court of public opinion left the family apart. Additionally, producers must decide whether to join the viral conflagration or turn away from the debate. Journalists circle like vultures outside the studio. Red-eyed and disturbed, a paparazzo takes pictures of Chantel and Derek leaving through a side entrance. "Tell us how you feel," a reporter challenges. Chantel holds up her hand. Quietly, "I'm not giving sound bites," she responds. "Is this my life?" Her denial merely feeds the rumors. Supporters are surprised that she would turn off media opportunities, taking it as a sign of fear or dignity. The mother-daughter conflict goes beyond television and becomes a cultural event about family secrets, authenticity, and the price of making personal suffering public. In the meantime, from a tiny office next to the set, Jackie's sister plans a press statement. She types frantically. Jackie is dedicated to repairing her friendship with Chantel and regrets the public altercation. However, her fingers pause over the submit button even as she composes calming words. Who is in charge of the story? She presses send when every word will be examined against the uncut video with unwavering determination. The release spreads on newswire sites and gossip blogs in a matter of seconds. Some are harsh, while others are sympathetic. Once again, the family was split. Currently, there are two opposing ideologies: those who favor private reconciliation and those who insist on complete transparency. Inside, the executive producer calls Chantel and Jackie in for a mediated meeting. You could cut through the tension with a knife. If they agree to resume the chat, cameras are ready, set aside for a special segment. Chantel and Jackie enter first, with supporting family members on either side of them. Like a stretched wire about to break, the room hums with expectancy. Her throat is cleared by the mediator. Our goal is to promote conversation, not drama. Chantel looks at Jackie while speaking steadily. I'm still looking for answers. Jackie lets out a breath and glances at the family lawyer who is sitting in the corner. She softens and continues. I want to know why you felt unheard. A glimmer of optimism is ignited by the unexpected olive branch. However, drama is difficult to control. With her eyes flaming, Chantel leans forward. You never accepted my friendships, my career, or my choices, she claims. They always seemed like dangers to you. Jackie's mouth clenches. I was afraid you would ruin the family name, she responds, her voice almost audible above a whisper. The mediator finds it difficult to keep things in order as the interchange sends them back into the emotional depths. She begs us to calm down, but Chantel insists. I was constantly embarrassed by you. The tears well up in Jackie's eyes. She sobs, trying to keep you safe. Everyone in the room shudders at the words unadulterated. Force. This is now a live therapy session rather than a reality show skirmish. A dot. This spontaneous attempt at reconciliation is captured by the cameras turning around. A sponsor liaison is pacing behind the camera, phone in hand, prepared to withdraw. Cash at the first hint of criticism, while producers debate whether it is morally okay to broadcast it. Although the family was split up, they are now moving closer to being one. Chantel extends her hand and covers her mother's. Everyone in the room catches their breath. The real humanity that emerges from the debris astounds fans. Social media creates a new era where people are either moved by the gesture or skeptical of its veracity. A new twist appears just when it looks like the drama might turn into healing. An anonymous tip, a text message telling Derrick to check Chantel's email, buzzes through his phone. As Derrick reads a note that was forwarded to a tabloid from Chantel's inbox address, his brow furrows. "I'm prepared to make every voicemail public." Jackie's eyes pop open in fear as she reads it. With a quivering voice, she accuses you of lying. Chantel appears struck but determined. "There was nothing I could do." Chaos breaks out in the room. The mediator lets out a gasp. Producers rush. Any possibility of resolution is threatened by this new betrayal, which rekindles old scars. The director shakes his head when crew workers anxiously look at him, unsure if the cameras should stop. The narrative is developing beyond any predetermined plot. Jackie pulls back, her hands over her face. Chantel doesn't back down. Once more, the family was split up, and the gap feels insurmountable this time. The studio's walls are resonant with the unadulterated force of truth and treachery, an uncontrollable force, a dot. Outside, breaking reports regarding Chantel's exposed emails have already overtaken the press statement announcing the reconciliation. There are conflicting storylines when the narrative breaks up. A family trying to get better, a daughter spilling the beans, a mother defending her honor. Producers understand they've recorded something far more combustible than any stage clash, as each twist adds to the fervor. The distinction between spectacle and reality has become hazy as the cameras, which were originally instruments of artifice, have witnessed true catharsis and conflict. As the crew lets out a collective breath, they realize that they are in possession of material that has the potential to completely transform reality television and permanently expose a family to public scrutiny. The space feels tense, as though the fallout from Chantel's email breach is causing the air to crackle. Jackie pulls herself into a corner, hunching her shoulders and fighting back new sobs. Chantal is positioned in the middle of the stage, her eyes fixed on the screen of her phone. The mediator's voice is low as she struggles to find the right words. This has never happened before. Behind the cameras, producers make frantic signals to each other. Should they continue rolling, halt, or cut? A young editor whispers into her headset, her eyes wild. On a backup stream, we are live. All of a sudden, the outside world brutally closes in. The hashtag #ArkshirChell emails erupts outside the studio. Biting remarks about family secrets, hushed references to therapy sessions, suspicions of hidden bank accounts, and a selection of scandalous passages from E-Op. Her drafts are all examples of gossip websites. Every syllable is analyzed by fans who argue about whether Chantel is a heroine or a villain because of her willingness to go public. According to one commenter, she is revealing too much. Well done. Another shoots back. Once more, the family found itself split, this time on the virtual battlefields of Instagram and Twitter. Derrick moves forward in the meantime, briefly obstructing his sister's view of the camera. He speaks to Jackie in a hushed tone. "We have choices, even though I know this hurts." He looks at the hovering legal advisor, close by. There are rumors that Chantel signed non-disclosure agreements and letters to cesandists years ago. Chantel's mouth tenses. She yells, "I don't want any gag orders. I want people to know the truth." The lawyer winces and massages her temples. The show has strayed from controlled drama into a legal minefield, and everyone knows it. A set designer cautiously walks up to Jackie in the middle of the confusion, holding a vase of lilies that had just been cleared off the table. The designer offers the flowers as an olive branch and says, "I thought these might help," in a quiet voice. Jackie takes them in her hands, shaking, and looks down at the petals, seemingly comforted by their delicate beauty. For a brief instant, the ferocious mother and unyielding critic disappear, to be replaced by a woman consumed by remorse. However, the moment is cut short when Chantel's friend Renee enters the screen, her eyes burning with rage. We now conceal ourselves behind flowers. The tension is broken by the sound of Renee's voice. Does that, in your opinion, And decades of silence? Alongside her companion, who is nodding, Chantel is pulsing with emotion. "I merely spoke what I had to say." Chantel says in a quiet but determined tone, "None of this would have occurred if you had listened sooner." Jackie's expression contorts. She accuses you of rewriting history. "I give it all to you." The room echoes with the paradox. The same life in two different forms. It's both painful and accurate. The cameras remain still. With merciless sharpness, every facial expression and stuttering step is captured. Unseen but omnipresent, the team observes as family therapy turns into a public event. A boom operator adjusts his microphone to record heist confidences while swallowing forcefully. Mesmerized by the unadulterated energy on set, a lighting technician pauses in the middle of adjustment. Producers, who were previously drama strategists, are now frantically trying to turn this uncontrollable tornado into a cohesive story, if that is even feasible. Below decks, dot. In order to guide the narrative, the social media team is constantly creating tweets. Watch this space for an open discussion between a mother and daughter. But in the context of Chantel's unvarnished disclosures, the words sound hollow. She speaks in shaky but clear voice clips that end up on fan pages and receive millions of views. Witnessing such vulnerable admissions shocks fans. Chantel's admission that she had once purchased treatment sessions with cash taken from Jackie's purse. Jackie's heartfelt acknowledgement that she was lost following the passing of her own mother. The feud is given fresh life by these hidden facts into the conflict. In the meanwhile, sponsors put an intervention in motion. An urgent conversation with the network's advertising team is demanded by a representative of a high-end skincare company. Executives are circulating transcripts of the conversation, along with threats of funding withdrawal and demands that the damaging video be removed. Normally calm, the network CFO paces the corridors in a new fear. Screens flash with numbers. Losses anticipated if the show airs without a cut. Anticipated profits if subscriptions are boosted by the controversy. Profit and ethics are increasingly at odds. Returning to the set, Chantel appears to be looking for a spot to land as she drifts near a row of vacant chairs. Her voice breaks. This was never intended for public consumption. Many of the crew members have their own families, so the admission resonates with them. On impulse, a makeup artist with kindness in her eyes approaches Chantel and puts a comforting hand on her arm. Conflicted, Jackie observes as her daughter breaks down and others support her. The director's forehead was drenched in sweat. Red live indications flicker on watch displays. The intercom crackles with an unexpected announcement. "We're going to tape now." Minutes of July 5th. With a sigh of relief, producers rush to turn on censoring procedures. Cameras that used to move freely now slow down. Even as Jackie's face tightens, once again, Chantel lets out a breath as though he had just been freed from a cage. "Do you believe that editing can be altered?" The reality. Eyes burning, Chantel challenges. Silence descends on the room, the quiet before a more powerful storm. With the protectiveness of a brother, Derrick supports his sister. He murmurs, "We'll get through this." But there's hesitation in his gaze. Legal action has been threatened by the network. Battle lines have been drawn by fans. The sponsors blinked. Years of silence had already damaged the mother-daughter bond. It is becoming perilously close. How much pain is too much to show? Is the question that lurks behind every cutaway and off-camera whisper. The family braces themselves as the tape delay goes online, and the world outside the studio waits with bated breath and social media feeds hum with anticipation. Will the unedited confessions be aired? Will Jackie apologize? Will Chantel back out of her threats? In the aftermath of this unfiltered confrontation, there are more questions than answers. Will Jackie and Chantel be able to mend their relationship after years of silence, or has the fallout from these leaked moments irreparably shattered their trust? Will the network dare to air the footage in its entirety, knowing that it could spark a firestorm of both sympathy and outrage? As a viewer, you have witnessed the raw reality of a family forced into the spotlight, and now it is your turn to weigh in. Chantel should be commended for her bravery in speaking her truth. Please hit the like button and let your voice be heard. If you believe Jackie's fight to preserve her legacy resonates with you, please subscribe and stay tuned for every twist in this ongoing story. Do you support mother or daughter? Or do you see elements of both in this tragic struggle? Please hit the notification bell so you don't miss any updates on this explosive story. Additionally, let us know what you think will happen next. Will there be a public apology, a court battle, or a heartfelt reconciliation off camera? Your response could be the key to unlocking the next reveal in the most talked about story. The year's biggest disaster on reality TV.